Councilmember Carl,
Here.
Councilmember Waldman,
I'm here.
Councilmember Springer,
I'm here.
Chairman Weil,
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Item number 2, Mayor, is communications. We have received no written communications. Item number 3, city managers report and staff reports.
Alrighty. Share my screen here. Good evening. We got started a little later this evening just because we had some council had interviews for the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals. So the Great Olivet Clean Out 2021 is in the books. Over on a Thursday from what was it 4 to 7? We collected over 10,000 pounds of electronic waste along with old prescriptions and documents that were shredded. It was exceptionally good. It was the first time we'd done it on a weeknight that we were trying to. We had in the past some issues with it being on a Saturday morning. We had concerns about it being on a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon. So we tried a weekday night. Seemed to be okay. So I think we'll just keep moving things around a little bit.
Just quickly.
Yes.
I don't ever recall a poundage before from any other ones. How did this one compare? Do we know? Did we get one? Similar, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that because that was going to be my question too. I didn't hear your answer.
It was similar.
Similar. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Adult cricket. If you have been to Warson Park and now to Stacy Park, you may see some adults playing cricket. It's gaining popularity everywhere and in the St. Louis region as well. The park director Beverly Tucker Knight is hoping in the future that we'll be co-sponsoring some games and events. And I thought the picture was really interesting just to see what a cricket pitch looks like and how it can be moved. So it's kind of an interesting thing, as particularly as we're looking at new activities for our parks. Opus Group, their Irvington Rhyme redevelopment got the final approval, or got their design review approval for their 5-story 200+ unit complex. And we anticipate they'll start acquiring the 23 single family homes in September, October. So that project's moving forward. And what that means now, and with this third approval at the Planning Commission, is that they're really now going to be dealing mostly with the building department, with regular permitting, et cetera. So so all of the things that have to go to the commissions and the council are kind of behind us now, and we're moving forward as a regular development. Public Works crews are working at Bonhomme Forest Drive. They are doing curb and gutter repair this week, and they may have already been out there. I don't know. STL Milling and Paving is going to come and mill. That was a road that deteriorated pretty rapidly over the last year. And it goes to show the importance of the reviews that are done, the passer reviews that are done that Bruce McGregor contracts with, because we were able to quickly identify a rapid deterioration of that street and to address that. On another note, bid packages for the paving and the concrete ADA curb ramps for the CDBG trail here along the Dealman Road have gone out. And so we anticipate getting some good bids on that, and hopefully seeing that construction work start still this year. With regard to the RFP we had out for general contractor service for construction of the community center park improvements and the section of Centennial Greenway within Warson Park, we received 2 bids. We are continuing to review those bids and do some comparisons, and we do have interviews scheduled actually for tomorrow. So that's moving forward. Annual turkey trot, again, You're gonna get tired of seeing this. I'm gonna have to change it every so often just to maybe change the pricing, give you guys a discount one day, see who's watching. It is November 25th. We have all kinds of options for folks. We have in-person Thanksgiving Day. We have a free kids fun run. We have all kinds of virtual options, both running and biking. So you can register today.
You know how
Pardon?
many people are registered, Barb?
I looked, I don't remember, I looked on Friday and it was 37, so I'm not sure how many. Which is, the bulk of registrations happen actually about those last 3 weeks. So we're ahead.
All right.
Party in the Park, it's back, better than ever. Friday, September 10th at Stacy Park. Gates open at 5:30. We actually don't have any gates, but it sounds good. And and we have the band Vote for Pedro. Remember, that was the band, if you recall, when 6 years ago, last year, when we were celebrating our 90th. That was a band we had for that. And so
That was 100 years ago.
so we're gonna get to hear those. I'm very excited about that, and I think it's gonna be just a great time. I'm gonna kind of bring these all in. 'cause I know they're
Could you
not
go
in
back
order.
to that other slide, please?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. Balloons, artists, photo booth. Okay, free entry, food and drinks available for purchase. Okay, I just didn't see the for purchase. Thank you.
I know, that's how we're getting people in there. I noticed. All right, upcoming events. We have the pension board meeting this Thursday, a special meeting of the pension board to look at our investment policy. We have a special meeting of the city council next Tuesday, August 31st at 7 p.m. Planning and Community Design Commission is September 2nd at 7 p.m. Party in the Park, as we just talked about, 6 to 9 at Stacy Park. Next regular I guess it is next regular city council meeting is September 14th at 7 p.m. And the Planning and Community Design Commission is September 16th at 7 p.m. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I would say, just as a note, construction continues down Olive with the Oliver, the Plant Haven. Firestone is really moving forward, moving a lot of dirt anyway. And also at Olive Crossing, where Ameren has started their work, which is really an exciting next step in that development. And then, as we discussed, we have the Opus development, which is we anticipate those the exchange of those properties occurring within the next 1 to 2 months. So exciting things happening. We also have a lot of houses, a lot of
We
new
have a
houses
question
coming
on the
up.
floor. I'm sorry.
No,
That's okay.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just wanted the mayor to know that I had a question when the time came.
Okay.
Okay. How are we doing with the heat advisories? My microphone is here, but I'm going to speak there. I'll try my best.
The,
How we
with the
doing
heat
with the heat
advisories, we, I'm aware of one complaint that we had of someone starting at 6 and there was not a heat advisory on. Other than that, I'm assuming you're talking about the work hours. Or are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the work hours. Well, I'm talking about the work hours, but I really want to know, are people requesting that?
They don't need to request.
Oh, they don't.
They don't need to request. Nope, that was part of what we did. As long as there's a heat advisory, they can start at 6:30.
Oh,
Yeah,
I-
because we tried to make
I wasn't
it.
here that day.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
tried to
Okay,
make
now
it,
I remember.
when the ordinance was done, the idea was to make it kind of simple and for people to be kind of flexible with the scheduling of their
Because
crews.
when we had discussed it, we had said that they had to ask and they had to request and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
before a certain period
Right,
of
and
time.
when we
and all
came
that.
back to and
Okay,
actually looked at
gotcha.
how we were gonna operate this,
I gotcha.
we made it simpler. Is there anything I should be adding? No? Okay. this was
So if I
just-
could follow up on that. because I think that was a meeting of three, Ruth, that might have been the quickest meeting in history with our absence.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
So.
What do you say?
So, yeah, both of us were not there, so it went quickly. In that discussion, was there the intent to still shoot out a notice blast to the citizens to remind them or inform them when those heat advisories will allow the construction to start early?
I think that I
We-
saw one.
We
Adam.
did some announcements when it first came out. It's also in the newsletter. So
Just let me
Yes.
rephrase my question. When we know we're gonna have a heat advisory for like the next 3 days, we're gonna
Uh-huh.
have a heat advisory. When that is happening, will blasts go out then, or we're done blasting?
We
We
have-
have educated and
we-
we've informed.
we have educated and informed is going to be, if the council would like us to send one out, we can. However, we don't know we don't know really if the contractors are going to be out there early or not.
Sure, I appreciate that clarification. That's all I
Yep.
wanted was clarification.
Okay. I think we're at city council reports, Mayor.
I have follow-up with the city manager, if
Oh,
you
I'm sorry.
don't mind. A couple things. For clarification, the Planning Community Design Commission will not be meeting on the 16th. It is a Jewish holiday. You don't have to shoot me out here. I don't have to be on the camera. So that Planning Community Design Commission meeting will be held on September 23rd. Unless there's been another notification to you that there cannot be a commission.
We're
quorum.
going to discuss the day at the September 2nd meeting because several members had conflicts.
Okay, so
in there.
since
So I
then,
still
there's a
need to
conflict. and-
confirm, yes.
All right, okay, thank you. I'm been corrected for further clarification of the board.
We'll work from right to left this time.
All right.
My boards have been lazy. I have nothing to report.
Okay.
My meeting will happen Thursday and I'll be happy to report back, although you will be meeting, if they agree to, with Brian on our August 31st meeting. I'm assuming Brian is set to be August 31st?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so I will report on that.
Well, Ms. Walton.
Thank you very much. I attended the Planning Community Design Commission meeting of August 19th. Mr. Trejo always puts out a good summary to everybody. There was a gentleman that did speak with regard to the Opus project. And he was asking several things, that there not be any construction or construction vehicles on Hilltop. The ask was to clear up the Price Road Avenue and get this area set up for the construction traffic and for the materials and the temporary area for materials and construction. So I do want to put that on the record at the city council meeting. 11 Forsythia Lane was approved. It was approved 4-0 with one planning and zoning member abstaining and removing themselves because they live in the area. As the city manager indicated, the Opus Group has moved forward and is now going to begin its its process of getting built. Birdie Lane subdivision was recommended to the city council at a vote of 5-0. The number 9 Ramsgate Drive was approved. This was a community and concept stormwater management plan review. One of the Planning Community Design Commission members recused himself from this hearing as a result of living in that area. 7 Arbor Road was brought up for conversation and discussion with regard to stormwater management. And this topic was deferred after some very serious conversations back and forth. And requested that Carlos contact MSD, have the developer and the civil engineer at the next Planning Community Design Commission meeting and continue having the conversation with the current concerns of water runoff and where things are going as a result of a new home potential being built on 7 Arbor. The builder is willing to work with some level of conduit for water flow, but the concern is what would the consequences be for that act? With that, I have, that is all that I have to report for Planning Community Design Commission. I did forget one follow-up question to the city manager. I'd like to ask it now.
Proceed.
With the Opus development, there's plenty of properties now that are they're vacant. And there are other people that are still living in that area, and the vacant homes are becoming larger and larger with regards to who's not living there anymore. People are beginning to believe this, and they are purchasing homes and they are moving out. What is our police patrol? How often are we down there? Are we getting any issues, problems, or crime being seen, or squatters living in those homes?
I've not heard of any issues, and I think we've talked about this prior, that when we started hearing concerns from residents about there being vacancies in that area, we increased the patrols.
Thank you. Do you have anything else? Okay. Ms. Wow.
Well, good evening. Last week I attended on August 18th, the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. It was an excellent meeting, and they're always just a lot of great discussion. It's a great commission. The director's report included a personnel update and the soccer league camps. And one of the camps that really struck out to me that I think that we should note is that they did a municipals, PALS, camp. And Don, our recreation coordinator or director, spoke about this. And they learned about city government, and they sat up here on the dais and they ran a meeting, and they also were given money that they had to figure out how to budget and where it should go, and that to what projects in the community they would want. And he said when it came down to discuss and to compromise, they all chose only their projects. But they had an opportunity to work with, I believe, the fire department chief and the police department, and they got to meet with different professionals on our staff. So it really was a great program. We saw pictures from the storm damage, and kudos to Bruce McGregor and his team, and to the Parks and Rec, the Parks development team for all the picking up that we had. And we've even had volunteers to come out and help with some of that. As we got more into the Parks Master Plan implementation, we actually saw samples of some of the vendor selection, some of the indoor and playground materials were discussed and shown for the community center. We talked about the Stacy Park Pavilion, which we are in the process of waiting on more options, and the park schematic design. But we are having, I'm sorry, the park schematic design public meeting was rescheduled from August and will be held on September 29th. And I'm certain that at our future meetings that the city manager, couldn't think of your title, the city manager will always remind people of the dates as they're forthcoming and the location. And I think I've covered it all. Bev, did I leave about anything out? We're good? Okay, thank you.
And I have nothing to report at this time.
Okay, item number 5 is the monthly financial report for July 2021.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm happy to be here live with everybody again. We have our monthly financial report for just the month of July, and it's as we can see there, it's pretty short. There's not much to report. There's not much to look at with just 1 month. The only highlight we could see, other than revenues, and all those expenditures were below expectations. 15 and 18,000 respectively. Our budgeting seems to be working out so far with just 1 month. I'll go to the only thing I would highlight is that unless we have any questions, of course, is that chart on page 4. And we can get a little sneak peek of what is coming up for our sales tax, which again is an outsized kind of source for us, something with a little volatile as well. So we can see that chart, it's a page right there, yeah. Our orange line still, what we look at, it's getting a nice 3rd or 4th lowest right in the middle for July. So we're reporting a little lower than we thought. But then In August, we'll see our highest August ever in our next report, which is good. And if we remember from our May and our June reports, they were really good. So over time, we can get more of a trend, but just in these several months, it's really hard to say one thing or another. Again, I'm more than happy to answer any questions, or if anyone sees anything there that would like to see more information on next month or pay attention to, we sure can.
I'm anxious to see what September looks like. Sales
Isn't that
tax
something?
wise.
Yeah, just give you 1 month in advance and you just want one.
I
more.
know,
Because
and I
don't
want
know.
another month. It's like a drug.
If you could see the, if I had that crystal ball, we would all be very happy.
It's the sales tax drug.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Number 6 is hearing from citizens.
Mayor, I see no one online that is wishing to speak.
All right, let's keep it
However,
moving.
I do have one, Mayor, Morton Burdish, 8829 Chisholm Court, left a message regarding he would like to ask the council to consider not allowing any additional bed and breakfast in the city. So that was his comment.
Do we have, yeah.
Yes, he says we have 4.
Okay. All right. Well, that scraps my plan, man.
Is the city aware of that? Is that an accurate statement? Could maybe that be followed up on just for accuracy of the statement? I don't see a problem
Is
with it,
that
but who knows?
Airbnb? Is he talking Airbnb? Gotcha.
Okay. All right, let's move on then.
Item number 7 is consideration of curbside leaf collection bid.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Who's excited for curbside leaf collection?
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's like the best time of year that I wish I could run and hide. At any rate, our contract had expired last year, and we put it out to bid earlier this year in the spring. And we had one bidder. It really seems that as a size of a municipality, there aren't a lot of vendors who, would work. Either they're too small, to do the amount of work here, or they're really set up for much bigger projects. A lot of our neighbors, Creve-Coeur, Brentwood, Ladue, they do their own vacuuming. University City does most of their own vacuuming, but does actually use Hendel Lawn Care to supplement their services. And I think he does Frontenac Town and Country and a few
That
other.
could be a new toy for you, Mr. McCarthy.
Oh, no.
Place to put all that stuff.
They,
I guess.
these pieces of equipment are very expensive and they're difficult to maintain. They're dangerous and they need to be run for a long time, to get a return on an investment. We would have to double our staff size just to do the curbside leaf collection, in there. And it is, it's really, it is a great service for the community, but it's sort of a thankless job. The guys are out there in the snow, in the rain, they're in the dark, it's a really difficult process to manage. But with all that being said, we had one bidder, Hendel Lawn Care. It was a slight escalation of price, which is to be expected as inflationary. And it was 8 years that we included in this year's contract. All right, so let's see here. I have it in the bit. Fiscal years 22 to 29. I'd be glad to answer any questions if anybody had any about the process, the bid document.
Please proceed.
I think it's obvious. I mean, been around for years and years and, people put that stuff out on the curb and they're raking the stuff when it's wet and it's frozen and,
Mhm.
but the 8-year contract, is that why an 8-year contract? I mean, I really think I know the answer, but I'm gonna
Well,
make
so,
it put it on the
I
record.
mean, it is for public process, it's very non-typical for us, non-conforming to do more than, 1 or 2 years of a contract. The fact that he's been doing it this long makes the process easier on me. And actually, it helps Dan as well, it helps the vendor out to know that when he's making investments, again, I talked about the expense of these, knowing that he isn't going to be going out to bid every 2 years or 3 years, because he could put in, $100 or $150,000 into one vac setup. And that takes multiple years to get the return.
And that's an obvious,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the answer to that, but
Sure. No, it's
the
fair
other
play,
thing
it's
is
fair
he
play.
didn't change his price all 8 years. It stayed the same.
Yeah, he did. And the escalation was fair, and he knows.
Well, I didn't see that. What did
you
I
know, I think
miss?
it was only a few $1,000s. He could have, taken the opportunity and said, you know what, I'm pretty darn sure I'm going to be the only bidder, and put us in a pickle,
Right.
but he didn't. And I think it's a good community for him to work for.
We
I
better
think he-
sign that contract fast. I think he's here.
Yeah,
He's online.
Yeah. So, at any rate, I think it was fair pricing. I think we get a good value out of the service, and I have no reservations about it. Okay.
Nope, I'd like to make a motion. That the motion is that we authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Hendel Lawn Care to complete the FY 22 to 29 curbside leaf, I can't even say that, curbside leaf collection services. 29.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman,
Yes,
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Item number 8 is authorize the city manager to enter into negotiations with All-Inclusive Rec for playground equipment design and fabrication at various city parks.
Thank you. As you know, we put out a request for qualifications for playground equipment. This is again, one of the specialty items that we're doing for the new community center in the parks. We we received 5 responses, though they were interviewed. And the consensus was to enter into negotiations with All-Inclusive Rec. We think that they provide excellent service, that will get some different products at the different parks. And they will also be providing the playground equipment inside of the community room for the indoor play area. So this would be for negotiating with them on the equipment design, fabrication, installation.
Question. You want me to make a motion first and then ask my question? Yeah, I need to, let me make a motion first and then I can ask my question inside that motion. I move that we authorize the city manager to enter into negotiations with All-Inclusive Rec for playground equipment design and fabrication at various city parks. Thanks. So my question is, who else entered I'm curious, mostly because I know a lot of the people in this arena.
Believe should have had the bidder matrix in here, make sure it is. You know what I think I did? I think I actually did have this. I have this. There it is. Did that just in case someone asked me.
Like me.
The vendors, all-inclusive, Columbia, Cascade, Fry and Associates, Lucky Climber, and New Toys. And not everybody bid on all of the parks.
Okay. All right.
I did.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman,
yes,
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed. Item number 9, appointment of Travis Neal to the Park and Recreation Commission with a term to expire July 31st, 2022.
As the council, no, you haven't appointed him. The council's aware you did interviews and interviewed a number of folks. Travis Neal has agreed to serve on the parks. Let me get this. And again, he is filling a position. So, so it's not a full term. And so it goes actually to July 31st of 2022. And so that's the motion in front of you.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to appoint Travis Steele to the Park and Recreation Commission with a term to expire July 31st, 2022.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman,
Yes.
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed. Item number 10, authorization to donate or destroy decommissioned police equipment.
Okay, I'm going to bring Chief Wolf over as a panelist. There he is.
Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Dave.
Can you guys? Okay, all right, great. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. So in keeping with the Olivet Great Cleanout, the police department has amassed several multiple items of equipment that have either come to end of life or are no longer of use to us. And so we would like permission to either donate or destroy items as attached on that list. Items that are donated, that accompanying hold harmless agreement will be filled out and kept on record for each piece of equipment that is donated. And with that, I will happily answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we authorize the police department to donate or destroy decommissioned police equipment as identified on attachment 1.
All right. Can we, does anybody have any other questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Chief, how many bicycles are on that list?
Yes,
How many
so
bicycles?
there are 2 bicycles on that list.
Are those regular
Sorry?
bicycle? Are those regular bicycles or specific police kind of?
Though,
Oh,
those are two bikes that the police department acquired over 23 years ago to be used as police bikes.
mhm.
But at this point, they are just too, it will either cost too much or it doesn't really make sense to repair them at this point. We still do have 2 bikes that we are using as police bikes, which are also very old, but we are working with them at this point.
Okay, so the 2 that are on the list are in need of repair and not functional to perhaps give to a needy family. So I appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Correct. And that's where those, the bikes will be donated to that St. Louis Bicycle Works, which is where when we also have multiple found property bikes and things like that, that we are found, that officers find or that are reported found, after checking to make sure that they aren't stolen, we hold them for a period of time and then they get donated to that same charity.
Mayor, I have a question. Hi, Chief.
Hello?
I have a question for you. With regard to the donations, are these generally donated to other police departments?
Yes. The equipment, yes, the equipment that is going to be donated will be donated to either other law enforcement agencies directly or in terms of like the radar units. We use McLean Radar Service as the service that calibrates our radar units twice a year and things like that. McLean Radar also does that for multiple agencies throughout the state. And so he has many contacts, particularly in rural Missouri, of agencies that are in need of things like that. And so they may be donated to him, and then he would then make the donation to an agency that was in need. But in the end, we would know where they went.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, can we poll the council?
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Member Waldman,
Yes.
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed. Item number 11 is party in the park alcohol permit.
Okay, one moment. Thank you,
Sure.
Chief.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, council. I appreciate it.
We have to talk about this, really.
Okay, we have Park and Rec Director Beverly Tucker Knight joining us.
Beverly Tucker Knight, Parks and Recreation Director. So the return of large city events is happening on September 10th. And this evening we asked for an alcohol permit for Barley and Vine, which is the drink truck we've used for several other events, and they do a nice job for us. They have completed the paperwork and submitted their state liquor license to us.
Mayor, I move that we approve the special event liquor license and city council authorization for a picnic license.
Second.
Councilmember Carl?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman?
Yes.
Springer?
Yes.
Chairman White?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Beverly, would that liquor just be beer and wine, or
They
will
do
there be
beer and
hard
wine, and I
liquor?
believe they also are doing margaritas.
Okay.
Those were very popular when we have had those previously. And they also now have some limited mixed drinks.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification.
Item number 12. Item number 12, authorize the city manager to enter into all agreements associated with the renewal of the ambulance billing service agreement with EMS MC.
Chief Carmen with the Fire Department is here this evening.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Ms. Songdag. EMS MC manages our ambulance billing. The agreement will expire on October 31st. We issued an RFP and received back 6 proposals. And you can see the percentage proposals are just a few percentages away from each other. We are making a request to remain with EMS MC as our billing for our ambulance.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion, but I do have some questions.
Sure.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to make the motion. I move that we authorize the city manager to execute all agreements associated with renewing the ambulance billing service agreement with EMS MC.
Second.
Thanks. May I ask my question? Okay, so Chief, as you stated, they are within a couple points of each other, which in dollars and cents can be quite a lot. But in this case, the difference between the bottom and the top is 0.4%. Keeping in mind that we always like to go to the lowest bidder, which if you listen to John Glenn, he will tell you that he orbited the earth in a capsule built by the lowest bidder, and that should have scared everybody. But nonetheless, keeping that in mind, is there a reason why you want us to consider the fact that this is just slightly above the bottom bid? And what is it that you want us to bear in mind as we think about this?
Yes, we have been with EMS MC for the last 5 years, and we have had absolutely 0 issues with them.
Okay.
And the differences in the percentages, Darren and I sat when we opened the RFPs and we looked at the percentages and we took an amount, and the percentage was roughly $1,100 difference between the lowest bid and what EMS MC proposed.
Okay.
And with that in mind, when we make that switch over, EMS MC is not going to collect any of our money after October 31st. So any of the billing that comes in after that, I don't know what happens to it, but it doesn't come to us. So the problem is if we make that switch, we may end up losing more than $1,100 in the end.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Darren is prepared if you, because we knew there would be a question about this because it's percentages of that. So it's hard to give you an exact number, but if you have any further questions, Darren's available.
Okay. No, if you guys worked it all out, I'm comfortable with that answer. And you're right. I mean, how do you work that through? It's almost as if you'd have to have a contract that started whatever, 90 days prior, if you're going to make the switch. And then when that expires, you know, you almost make the switch 90 days prior so you can keep the receipts coming in.
You can do, because you do have to give them notice, as you said, this one expires in October, but
okay.
at the end of October, it would be a quick process. The issue would be then would always be some additional costs to switching over to a software, another
Yes.
software system. If you're,
Yes.
and if you're not having issues,
Right, why would you?
Why spend
Okay,
it?
I'm on board. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman,
Yes.
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you.
It's good to see you, Chief. Take care. Be safe, be healthy.
Item number 13 is hearing from citizens, part 2.
again, if anyone in the audience would like to, they can raise their hand. At this point, I do not see any hands raised, Mayor.
Number 14 is review and approval of minutes.
Paul, oh, yeah, just the city attorney's report, just so you know, Paul Martin was not feeling well. He was unable to make it tonight. He will be able to be here next week.
Mayor, I move that we accept the meeting minutes of August the 10th, 2021.
Second.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman,
Yes.
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
Need a closed session.
I apologize. I got ahead of myself there. We do need a closed session to discuss contractual matter. It would be section to discuss sealed bids related to a negotiated contract pursuant to section 610.02112.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that to have a closed session pursuant to section 610.021-12.
Second.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman.
Yes.
Councilmember Springer,
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I am going to pause our recording.
Entertain a motion to close out this session.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.